Hello, this is Penny's Place, and this is Saturn affects the Scorpio again, and I'm going to just do like I did for Aquarius, Gemini, and Pisces, because you're starting all over again. As of last fall, you've completed your cycle completely with Saturn. It wasn't real fun. Okay, Saturn was in our sign last in Scorpio in 1982, 1983. And the big question, what you believed in at that time, Scorpio, was pretty much, you were dealing with restrictions and in some cases government, law enforcement, and your car, and how and cops that were hanging around your house, and you were receiving checks from your job or the government, but you were also being lied to about your pay increases, things that were going on at college and school status and pay raises, and you just weren't, people were not telling you the whole story. And you were kind of not really there. I mean, your mind was on other things, and you weren't really noticing, and your belief, you believed that the government was secure and safe and everybody there was trustworthy, and or whatever job you were working in. And you were content with the idea that feeling secure within your job or your government and being around older people, and you didn't really realize that you were missing out on these pay raises and because of lies and all these changes and things that were going on a lot in secret. And there was rumors around friends and around your home and about you and a cop, and you had secrets, and there was also, for some of you, had faced a life and death with a car accident or a gunshot wound, and this caused your finances to suffer as well. And so while you believe that working for your job or your government was making you feel safe and secure, and it was the right thing to do, and then backing that up with college, and you had to also accept the stress from your loved ones and your fellow employees that they were imposing on you. So, with all the struggles and the challenges and the things, and dealing with all different levels of government and the law and the police and jail and accidents, and now Saturn has returned full cycle and put you through everything the government does for you, with you, against you, whatever. And now Saturn has returned to say, how do you like me now? And as much as you hate to face it, you now have got to decide if you really think that the government and school and college, having an education and law enforcement and all the things that you believed in, with everything you went through, do you really think now, 20 years later, that this is where you should put your sense of security now? Well, Saturn's going to kind of help you out with that, starting as of last year. But you've got to remember, Scorpio, just remember where this do-it-your-thing, do-it-yourself kind of thing has ever gotten you, okay, before you just start tossing things away. And being 20 years older, you've started to face some of your arthritic and some of your old health injury problems. And that leaves you a little bit dependent on government services, right? Sorry, Scorpio. Nonetheless, Saturn, the old school teacher of life lessons, has returned to help you sort out what you need to keep and what you need to toss and what you need to replace and what no longer works. Not because you think so, Scorpio, but because the life around you has changed in the past 15 years. And the things that you've held on to a little too tightly because you wanted to believe so badly that this is security, this is helping me, this is going to protect me, this is never going to crumble, this is never going to go away, it's always going to be a tool. Well, in the next 2.5 years, starting as of last fall, Saturn's going to point out to you where that's no longer so. Okay, and some of the things that you have been leaning on for support, your spouse, your job, your pension, your car, your job, how these things are no longer workable ideas. Okay. And then the other big number one question that you are going to be able to answer at the end of 2.5 years is, what have you learned from the past 20 years? And she's going to ask you again in 2.5 more years from now. What have you learned about I over E, Scorpio? That is the big question now. Are you making your decisions based on intellect or emotion? And if you don't know what I over E is, Saturn will definitely show you starting as of last fall. And she is going to show you what it's going to take for the next 20 years to feel secure, to feel grounded, to be safe, which is a lot of things different from 1982 to last year. Think about what no longer works, Scorpio, and what you're going to have to change, replace, and toss. And if you have a struggle with that, there's no problem, because Saturn will, as of last fall, start working with you. First with yourself, and your money, and then how you communicate with people, your house, and everything. And Saturn's going to go back over every one of these issues, every area of your life, and show you. And every time you try to get up and do something that you did before, if it's not there, it's going to be like a door shut in your face. But you will learn it. But you have 2.5 years. So brace yourself. Be ready for some tough challenges. And it's going to feel tough on you, Scorpio, but when it's done, the end of 2.5 years, your idea of what the sense of security is, as opposed to what you thought in 1982 and 83, is going to be way different. But it's going to make sense. And it's going to be hopefully less emotionally involved and more grounded and thought through and more sensible than it was 20 years ago to you. That being said, you're going to be brought into the July-August, of course, because you're starting all over again. But what I needed to tell you was where you've been. Take a look back at where you've been so that you will understand why things are going to start happening to you the way they are now. Because what was then and what is now is beginning to change, and Saturn is going to point out to you where you need to make those changes in order for the next 15 years to be different than the past. And as I've told others before, you do have to do that, Scorpio. Brace yourself. Take a deep breath. You can do this. And I'll see you in July, August.